What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you probably the worst deck I have ever brought you in, considering some of the decks that I have brought you guys. That is saying something. And no, your eyes do not deceive you. This is going to be a Turbo Guzzlord-GX deck. And before I get into it, just a reminder that if you guys liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. And let's do more cool stuff for you guys. And as for the question of the day, because this deck is pretty awful. I mean, this deck is truly awful. I think I won 1 out of the 10 test matches that I did with it just to see if this deck was capable of winning, and it is. It's capable. It just takes very specific situations, aka your opponent drawing absolutely nothing and getting nothing set up. So yeah, I mean, we're still rolling with it, but this is an awful deck, and it got me thinking, what are your guys' worst decks that you've ever built? Okay, so they were intentionally awful. It wasn't like you built a deck where you were like, oh, this could actually have potential, and then it turned out to be bad. No. This is, what deck did you know was going to be truly awful, but you couldn't help yourself. You just had to build it and try it out anyway. For me, before this deck, I mean, this deck 100% takes the cake for the worst deck I have ever used, because, I mean, this is awful, but it's so much fun if you can get it. I mean, even just the attack. Even if you can just get an attack off, you consider that a win. But, like, this deck is truly awful. However, I think the one that would give this deck the most competition for worst deck I've ever run is probably the expanded Life-Splosion Cradilly deck, just because that deck took so much to even just remotely work that it was... I mean, it ended up working, and it ended up working decently when I was able to get it going. But, I mean, it was just kind of a bad idea, but it ended up working in this deck. Honestly, like, I have so much more trouble winning with this deck than I did with Life-Splosion Cradilly. But that being said, I honestly could not resist bringing you guys this deck. And it is honestly straightforward. Completely centered around Guzzlord-GX, 210 HP, super bulky, with 3 different attacks. 1, eat sloppily, discard the top 5 cards of your deck. If any of those are energy cards, you attach them to this Pokemon, and you can already tell that this entire deck is centered around going for Tyrannical Hole turn 2 after eat sloppily with Guzzlord, just to get this thing powered up as quickly as possible. And the deck is designed so that you hit enough energy to be able to attack almost guaranteed. Tyrannical Hole does 180 damage for 5 energy, which is honestly not great at all. In fact, it's kind of bad. I mean, okay, 180 damage and no bad drop and no like bad added effect is great. The fact that it's 5 energy is much less great, and it's just kind of not worth it overall, because I mean, Metagross with a Choice Band hits for 180 damage, and in order to consistently get Guzzlord going, at least in this type of deck, you have to just make it inconsistent as hell and not very good. But, I mean, in Metagross, you at least have, you know, a good deck once you get Metagross set up. And then Glutton-GX for 5 Darkness Energy, which you actually end up getting more often than not. If your opponent's Pokemon is knocked out by damage from this attack, take 2 more prizes, only does 100. But there are certain situations where Glutton-GX can take you 4 prizes, which is very nice. And so, what initially crossed my mind with this deck build is to do, like, a Guzzlord and 59 energy. Just like, okay, you'll have 1 Guzzlord, you have 1 chance to win, and you better make it work. But I decided, you know what? I'm going to try to make this as... Okay, so when I say consistent, I don't mean like actually consistent. I say consistent in that you won't mulligan 50 bajillion times in order to find that 1 Guzzlord. So first of all, I started off with 4 Guzzlord. And was like, okay, let's get the Guzzlord out and be able to attack with it. And then I added a couple Lele, because I figured that Lele into Brigette gets... Well, first of all, it gets Lele, Brigette, and 3 Guzzlord out of the deck, so that increases your odds of hitting exactly what you need every time with Eat Sloppily. And additionally, it gets more Pokemon on board that you can power up with the insane amount of energy that you're going to have in your hand, because after 1 Eat Sloppily, you're not going to be attaching any more energy to your active Guzzlord. I mean, if you get really unlucky, then yes. But otherwise, your Guzzlord is powered up. You can start powering up stuff on the bench like Lele or other Guzzlord and go from there. So that's why I decided to go with a couple Lele and a couple Brigette, just to get more Guzzlord out of the deck. and also be able to more consistently hit what I want with Eat Sloppily while making this deck more than just okay, you have one Guzzlord, and then if you happen to draw into another one, you got lucky. This way you can have more than one Guzzlord, and you aren't just going all in on one. And then I'm also running 4 Ultra Ball in order to be able to search out Guzzlord, mainly just search out Lele, so you can Ultra Ball into Brigette, which gets you 3 more Guzzlord, and essentially you got rid of 5 cards out of your deck that aren't energy, so that Eat Sloppily hits even more. So there was actually a decent amount of thought that went into this deck, even though it doesn't really look like it, and once you see it in action, you're going to be like, wow, there was no thought put into this deck, and well, you're not totally wrong. But then as for the energy, 4 DCEs, just because DCE helps hit harder with Tyrannical Hole, and also can function on Lele as well. Really the main reason I have DCE is because Lele, like, it gives you that just power up Lele in one turn and be able to finish off something that isn't necessarily knocked out by Tyrannical Hole. Just basically gives you more options of what you can do with this deck, even though this deck is incredibly linear. And then 40 for Darkness Energy. Now, statistically speaking, 80% of my deck is energy. So, by that statistic, the fact that we discard 5 cards with Eat Sloppily should mean that we get 4 energy cards each time we go for Eat Sloppily, if it just plays out to the statistical average of the entire deck. Now, of course, you're going to have more Pokemon, you're going to have like at least one Guzzlord down, you're going to have energy in your hand, blah, 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 but just overall the makeup of this deck, you should be able to hit 4 energy, which would be enough to power up your Tyrannical Hole for next turn. And so yeah, like I said, decent amount of thought into this deck, but I'm done rambling. I've talked way too much over 6 cards. Let's go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Wyvern Claws with, well, honestly, it kind of looks like a Zoroark Golisopod deck, in which case we are going to get absolutely smashed, but, I mean, hey, we're using an awful deck, so what else is new? I mean, in fact, if I'm able to bring you a non-absolute body bag, then I consider that a win, and if I'm able to win one, well, then that's just kind of, not gonna lie, would be kind of awesome if I was able to bring you a match where I actually win. And fortunately, we start off with a Guzzlord and will not have to mulligan. Now that is actually pretty significant for this deck, and yeah, there's a Wimpod, so this is Golisopod Zoroark, and this is just going to be an absolute body bag. However, I am going to try to play it out until I just can't take any more of the beating. Like, I am going to try to play it out. I'm going to do what I can, but if it just gets to the point where I'm just getting destroyed, then I'll probably be like, you know what, I can only take a little bit so much self-abuse. I mean, at that point, it's like, is it sadism or masochism? I don't remember. But either way, it's just like, I don't like getting destroyed. I mean, it's not something that I consider fun, but at the same time, I'm using an awful deck. I'm bringing it on myself, so I guess I kind of deserve it, and I top deck a Guzzlord. So this is actually really nice. What I'll be able to do is exactly, why did it turn into a Fire Energy again? But let's Ultra Ball for a Tapu Lele so that I can go ahead and just Lele for that Brigette to get my other Guzzlords out, and I can't even get my other Tapu Lele out if I want. But like, this is honestly the ideal first turn for this deck, just to get get a Guzzlord, get an energy, and then get other Guzzlords on the bench so that you can Eat Sloppily. And look at that, I hit 5 out of 5 as energy, and I think it has to do with the fact that I was able to Ultra Ball for Lele into Brigette, which got me 2 other Guzzlords out of my deck. And so, I mean, this, to be fair, my deck is working exactly as it's supposed to. Like, you want to go second with this deck because you want to Eat Sloppily as quick as possible, because if not, your opponent gets 2 turns before you're able to attack, and in this one, your opponent really only is able to get, like, their first turn, which they can't attack on, and then another turn in which they can finally attack. So your opponent really only gets 1 attack against this deck before you're able to attack them back. And yeah, I mean, this is, my opponent has a Zoroark set up, he has a Golisopod, he has a Zorua with a Float Stone, and this is, oh boy, this is going to go from bad to worse very, very fast. But if I can take a prize, I will consider that a victory. If I can take a single prize against this guy, I'll consider that a win. Like, if he accidentally leaves his Golisopod or his Zoroark up, then I might be able to take a couple prizes off of them. But again, once my opponent gets that stand-in Zoroark, there's not a whole lot I can do because he'll be able to first impression twice for every single Tyrannical Hole of mine, and that's honestly just not enough, and then he can always just power up Gliscod in the background, and we're gonna die next turn, but you know what? We got a Tyrannical Hole off, and yeah, so this is something. If he leaves Gliscod up and then and then knocks out my Guzzlord, then I can just go Lele and knock him out, which would actually allow me to take a couple prizes and would be what I considered a win. But no, he's making the right play. Unfortunately, I seem to be playing somebody that's actually smart and knows what they're doing. Man, who does that these days? Who actually knows how to play the game? That's absurd. I mean, you got me. I mean, isn't every deck just 48 energy and a bad attacker? But what I am going to do is try to quote-unquote power up Guzzlords in the background, even though that's not going to happen. And once again, I hit all 5 energy with my Eat Sloppily. So I mean, this deck is working. It's just a horrible, horrible deck. And so any decent deck is going to completely body bag me. And that's kind of what's happening right there. And we see the Choice Band. Are we going to see another Gliscod? Yep, he's going to Ultra Ball. Probably grab that Gliscod. And I mean, even if he wants to, he can put an energy onto, he can get a Zoroark Break, put an energy onto the Zoroark Break, and then foul play me with Tyrannical Hole or my GX attack if he doesn't have anything else. So honestly, like, I'm not going to win this. There is absolutely no way I'm going to win this, so my goal is to take a single prize, and if I can't do that and he just keeps playing smart by keeping me from being able to take prizes, then I'm probably just going to scoop. But I will be able to get another attack off, so we're able to get off yet another Tyrannical Hole, which is nice. But now I'm going to go down to another first impression, and then he already has the second Gliscod powered up, yeah. And he's going to be able to go into that, and it's just completely fresh. There's no way I can OHKO it, and this is just... Yeah, I mean, he's going to be able to take a knockout on me. I'll have to Eat Sloppily again in order to be able to even just get my Guzzlord powered up, and he's going to first impression knock me out, and... Yeah, I really... You know what, let's just go into this Guzzlord. I have to maybe Eat Sloppily, but then he can always just... Yeah, I can Eat Sloppily, and then he's always just going to be able to go for another couple first impressions. Yeah, there's no way I can even take a prize at this point. I'm just going to scoop on out of there. And, yeah, that's pretty much what's going to happen with this deck of a whole lot in this live. I mean, it's a horrible deck. My opponent was using a very good deck and knew how to use it properly to deny me prizes. So, you know what? I'm going to keep on trucking. I mean, the deck worked perfectly. This is just a horrible deck. So... yeah, I'm going to keep on trucking. I'm going to go at least until I'm able to get a couple prizes and maybe even potentially a win, although I'm not going to play 5 hours for that, which I'm already at 2, so we'll see. Alrighty, we've got another potential body bag against a Cambot 16 with a Pure Water deck, so we'll see how this goes. I mean, I'll be honest, if we see a Ninetales with the... it's like the Luminous Veil, maybe? But either way, if it's that Ninetales with the Safeguard-like ability for EXs and GXs, then I'm just going to click X because there is literally nothing I can do about that at all. And I actually start off with the same exact hand as I did last game, which works out very nicely for me. I mean, I'm going to be able to Ultra Ball for Lele, going to be able to attach the energy onto Guzzlord. And, I mean, I'll actually have a pretty... solid start overall. Right now we're just... Wait, what? Oh, sorry, I thought we were waiting on my opponent, but we were waiting on me. Oops. But regardless, I do have my Sir Guzzington out there right now, so we should at least be able to get a Tyrannical Hole off turn 2 if everything goes right. So my opponent comes out with a couple stuff, and it's... Ooh, Glaceon, Manaphy, Lapras. Okay. Alright, so I actually think we might have a game. There's a side up 2, and an energy onto Glaceon, and a Professor's... Okay, so we might actually have a chance this game. because it looks like my opponent is playing a big old water deck, but we don't see like a Alolan Vulpix or anything like that. So if there's no Alolan Ninetales, then I actually can win. Let's go ahead and just do that Lele into Brigette into 3 more Guzzlord so that Eat Sloppily goes, works as well as I hope it will. And what's nice about this is you don't have to worry about energy conservation at all, because, I mean, there's 48 energy. You're only going to be using at most like 12, and the rest of it is just there so that you don't discard a bunch of other stuff. I mean, I could try to make this deck a little bit better, but like, there's no way to make Eat Sloppily consistent, and there's no way to make Eat Sloppily consistent while having a deck that's able to take on the rest of what you will encounter in the standard metagame. So right now, we're in a good spot because we're actually going to be able to one-shot this Glaceon next turn. So if I'm able to do that, that'll be 2 prizes, and I will be in a great spot. So he even powers up the Lapras in the background, so he's not even going to be able to attack. That's even better for me. I will be able to take a couple prizes, and this is actually looking okay. No Wi-Fi. I know I have Wi-Fi right now. You better not kick me out of a game that I might actually win. So what I'm going to do is start powering up Guzzlords in the background. Okay, attach it. And guys, you see this. We took 2 prizes. We just took 2 prizes with Turbo Guzzlord. This is amazing. We're actually going to be able to do it. Maybe. If Lapras comes out, I mean, Ice Beam GX into Blizzard Burn will be able to knock out a Guzzlord and paralyze it, considering I have no way of getting it. No, there's the Alolan Vulpix. Please just go into a Ninetales GX, and he's going to Confusion Wave. This is bad. This is really bad. So what I think I'm going to do, let's Ultra Ball just thin the deck even more. I have to thin the deck even more, get rid of all of the, like, make sure that I'm able to hit the Eat Sloppily whenever I need it. And this way I don't, like, well, exactly, this way I don't discard those, like if I get unlucky and it happens to be 2 Ultra Ball, Lele, and Brigette at the top of my deck. Now I'm going to go for a Tyrannical Hole right here, and I do actually hit through, because what my opponent could have done is if he goes into Vulpix, like if I Eat Sloppily, or if I go for the GX right there and I took 3 prizes, then if he goes Lapras, then I still have to play the odd prize game. This way, if I just knock out the Psyduck, this way by knocking out a Lapras, Manaphy, or Vulpix, he can keep himself, well, I can make sure that I'm able to win. So Lapras does come up, and honestly, I just have to cross my fingers that he doesn't go into the baby Alolan Vulpix, or Alolan Ninetales GX, because the second he has that, I just lose. And yeah, so I'm really just hoping, because this is going well. This Kukui, okay, please no. Please no. No. Okay, please just no. Alolan, please be Alolan Ninetales GX, not and Luminous Barrier. That's what it is. And yeah, we lose. There's dang it, this game was going so well, but like there's nothing we can do about it now. Ah, crap. And my opponent can just go into his Ninetales and just, if he retreats, if he leaves Lapras up, then nope, he just retreats, and I'm out, because there's literally nothing I can do, like, at all. I cannot knock out that Ninetales. I have no other way of, like, Guzmaing around or anything. I just straight up lose to that Ninetales. So that was so sad. It was looking so good for us. And then, of course, my opponent actually had to play a card that's good in the meta. I mean, who actually uses good decks and uses cards that are actually good in the meta right now? I mean, I don't understand it at all, but that went so well, but I'm still holding out hope. I think we might be able to get 1 win. I will be right back. Alrighty, we have found another one against Meal 1109 with a Psychic Dragon and normal deck, and they have the advantage. I mean, to be fair, like, the game probably knows what a horrible deck I am running. It's like, yeah, anybody that you face has the advantage against you. And unfortunately, we do mulligan. That's actually the first time, which is actually kind of, well, the first time recording anyway, which is kind of awesome. I mean, during my test, I would mulligan like 6 or 7 times. We are up against Garbodor, and what's awesome about this is we actually have the advantage against Garbodor, because we run a total of 4 items and we also have a resistance. So Trashlanch is not going to be doing much of anything at all, and even if he runs... Well, I mean, I'm assuming he runs the Garbotoxin Garbodor, because, I mean, that would just make sense. Even with the Garbotoxin Garbodor, we don't have any abilities that we really rely on outside of turn 1. So, yeah, we're in... This is honestly okay for us. And then... Noivern. Sorry, I was forgetting what it was for a second. I was like, no, it's Noivern. The fact that he's going to be able to hit against me. And we see the Choice Band, which is going to be bad. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. But Noivern actually has to 2-hit KO us, which with an attack that costs 3 energy, you can't cheap it out. You can't cheap out the energy in this game. Because the Double Dragon energy has been rotated out. So I even just top deck a Brigette, which is great for me, and I'm going to get rid of the Ultra Ball, get rid of 2 Darkness Energies. I was wondering which Darkness Energy I should get rid of. I was thinking of getting rid of the one that I'm attaching to Guzzlord, but I was like, you know what? No, that Darkness Energy looks better than the other one, and well, I discard my other Lele, which, I mean, that's honestly okay with me because I get the 5 energy that I need to attack. I have a Lele in my hand for next turn to be able to pull out the last Brigette, and I should be able to just consistently eat sloppily. Like, he can distort right now, and he ends me, which honestly is fine. It's really not a big deal. I'm just going to be attaching a bunch of energy to stuff on my bench in hopes that I can outlast the Noivern. And we see the Crushing Hammer, which if he starts hitting a ton of these, that could be bad, but he does hit Tails, luckily, so that I can attach to stuff on the bench and not have to attach to the active one. But that also is good information because he is more than likely playing Crushing Hammer as well. Or, not Crushing Hammer, we just saw Crushing Hammer. He is more than likely playing Enhanced Hammer as well, so I do need to be careful about putting DCE onto potential Leles. And he is going to evolve into that Noivern and be able to distort for 80 damage, and he will be able to 2-hit KO me into Sonic Volume next turn. But I think at this point I actually should be in a decent spot because what I can do is Tyrannical Hole, hit this thing for 180, and then I can just go for my GX attack the next time I have a Guzzlord. And if he doesn't draw into an energy, then I actually live and I'll be able to go for the Glutton GX, which might be... Ooh, that's going to be interesting, because once I get a Glutton GX off on a Noivern, I will literally just be one knockout away, one GX knockout away from being able to win the game, so that might actually be okay. And if he plays Lele, then that's going to be kind of annoying, because while I can one-shot that thing, for just a DCE, it's going to be able to, or just 2 energy, it's going to be able to hit me for 140 damage, which is very not good, and he does get the extra energy, unfortunately. I mean, to be fair, that wasn't something that I could expect him not to get, and he will be able to knock out this Guzzlord. So one of my Guzzlords goes down, but this Noivern is in range, and what I can do now is get rid of my a couple Darkness Energy to grab the Lele. That way I can just play that down and grab the yeah, let's go ahead and play that down to grab the Brigette just so I can have that. The reason I didn't get rid of the Ultra Ball is because I didn't want him just to be able to, like, pick me off with a choice-banded, Guzzlord into Trashlanch with only, like, 2 energy after he goes for a Sonic Volume, or with 2 items in the discard pile after he goes for a Sonic Volume. So that's kind of what I was meaning to go for right there. And I do eat sloppily, and I'm able to get those energy on there. And the fact that my opponent only has energy on this active Noivern means that he has to attach to his Noivern twice on the bench. I mean, which, to be fair, is not... It's pretty easy to expect. I mean, there's not a whole lot that we can expect otherwise. And he does just Sycamore, and if he knocks out this Guzzlord. Actually, you know what? No, he has to keep this Noivern active and attack me, which is fantastic because that means I will be able to get a knockout on it. And if I go for the Glutton, I should be able to take 4 prizes, which will actually put me in a spot that I think I might be able to win. We do see the Lele come out, so that is something that we might have to watch out for later. We see the extra Trubbish coming down. That's not a big deal. All my Leles are either down or in the discard pile. All my Brigettes have already been used up. I really don't need to do anything more. Yeah, I think I'm in a good enough spot. Yeah, I think I'm actually in a decent spot. Like, I'm down 2 prizes. But yeah, he goes for Sonic Volume, which is able to hit me for 150. But he has to have a Choice Band in order to knock me out with Distort next turn. So what I'm going to do is just start powering up this Guzzlord on the bench and then go for a Glutton GX and be able to take out this Noivern and take 4 prizes. So literally, I'm just a knockout on Lele away, and I get plenty of Darkness Energy. I get all the Darkness Energy I could want. But he goes into his Noivern, and again, he has to have the Choice Band and an Energy in order to be able to Distort for a knockout. So I'm hoping that he doesn't get that. I'm really hoping that he does not get that. I mean, he's gonna get an Energy. Like, that's, well, he already has it attached. What am I saying? But we just have to hope that he doesn't have the Choice Band. Because if he doesn't have the Choice Band, then yeah, okay, whew, we see those double enhanced hammers. I'm glad I was waiting on my DCE for as long as I was. But if there's no Choice Band, then I can hit this Noivern. Yeah, if there's no Choice Band, then I'll be able to get an extra hit off with this Noivern. Yes, so, oh my goodness, are we actually going to be able to win? We might actually be able to win, so I'm going to just power up this Guzzlord once more. And I almost have a manually powered up Guzzlord, as weird as that sounds. Like, I've just been attaching energy in the background, and Eat Sloppily has done enough of my attachments to where I've been able to afford to just attach on the bench. And this is going very well. This is going very, very well. He is going to go into Garbodor and be able to take me out, but I mean, like, that's honestly just fine. I'll be able to knock him out as he does Trash Land. Hits me for a whopping 20 damage. I would laugh if I only had the 1 Ultra Ball in the discard pile, but I am going to go into... Actually, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity to set up a third Guzzlord. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's Ultra Ball, get rid of the Ultra Ball and the Darkness Energy at this point. I have nothing but energy in my deck, so I will be able to eat sloppily and be able to have as much on this as I need. Get all the energy that I need powered up. And what I was saying... Okay, so if he knocks out another Guzzlord, then I just lose. The reason I am getting another one powered up, because the Guzzlord on my bench is a single energy away, or a single DCE away, from being able to attack with Tyrannical Hole. So what I'm setting up that second one for is if this one takes a big hit as I weaken a Noivern and he does something weird, and like he plays something to where I'm not able to knock him out after he's able to get a big enough hit, and if it goes back into his turn, then he'd be able to knock out my Guzzlord. This way I'd have another Guzzlord able to attack and be completely fresh, as he does just Guzma into my Lele, but, I mean, I literally have nothing but energy left, so I'm just going to attach to Lele and then retreat into my Guzzlord and be able to Tyrannical Hole in my... Oh my gosh. Guys, we actually won. We won. Like, holy crap! We actually managed to win with Guzzlord. Oh my gosh, I'm ending it right there. There is 100% no way we're going to be able to top that. That is freaking amazing. I cannot believe we were able to win with this ridiculously awful deck against a deck. I mean, like, okay, Northern Garbodor is not like meta per se, but I mean, it's a solid deck. It's not like a horrible deck or anything like that. So we actually were able to take them down, and Guzzlord was able to come through. Man, I'm definitely ending it right there. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.